Good afternoon, FDIC. This is the ISFSI International Society Fire Service Instructors Podcast. We're excited to be here this today on Wednesday at FDIC. This podcast is brought to you by Firehouse Subs and Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. Encourage you to enjoy more subs and save more lives. Find out more about restaurant franchise opportunities at firehousesubsfranchising.com. So we have some guests today. I got Tony, Scott Walls, myself, Brian Zeitz. Excited this week. We're going to talk about, of all things, training, right? So this is a great opportunity for us to come together. You heard David today talk about the revolution, and the revolution starts with training, right? And we have to be doing training in the fire service. So last time we got together as ISFSI, we had a great social. I'm sure you guys enjoyed yourselves. Everybody got to see a lot of people. We see once a year. So that was exciting. So far this week, what has your favorite part of FDIC been for you guys?
Go ahead. So I like getting the relationships back, like you said, just seeing the people, and then with the classes that we teach, they're like, oh, hey, they kind of bring it back, and then just seeing the people, and then obviously getting re-energized.
Sure.
That's kind of my two big things I like coming over.
Same, echo a lot of that. It's all about the networking. You get back here, get to see a lot of your friends. A lot of new changes, right? It's new things we're seeing. Got some new technologies we're going to see going on. So, yep.
I think one of the things I love about FDIC is that interaction. And I had a young man from Melbourne, Australia, come up to me last night. We was talking and says, "Hey, very professional, but hey, I got a bone to pick with you about your reading smoke message." Like something about fire science. I'm like, "Hey, let's. We're not going to do it right now, but hey, when can we do it? Can we do that tomorrow? Can we get together tomorrow and talk about that? Because I want to learn as much as I can."
Yeah.
And then I talked to another young man. He said, "Oh, I didn't want to bother you." It's like, "Hey, when you're at FDIC or we're out teaching or we're at a local or regional conference, the reason we're there is to talk. The reason we're there is to listen. The reason we're there is to build this family and this profession and fire service in general. And don't ever hesitate to come up to one of these instructors and say, hey, can I ask you about this? Or I have this idea, or whatever it is. Get that conversation started, because I guarantee you they're going to engage with you. That's all of us. That's as instructors. That's what we're after.
Well, I think that's such a critical part of this whole FDIC experience is those conversations, right? You go into classes, you got your set of stack slides that you're going to present and talk about in your curriculum that you want to deliver, but it's that interaction that you can have in the classroom and getting the collective thoughts of everybody in that room and their experiences and learning as much from them as almost as you deliver in their message, which is fantastic. And we have a couple people from my department up this year first time, and I encourage them, like, when you see some of these people that you read their book or you read their article or you take their class, stop them in the hallways, talk to them, engage them. We're all firefighters, just like they are, right? They're better than anybody else. So that persona of like, oh, that guy's famous. He's a firefighter just like you and I. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think that's part of the ISFSI's message too. Is like, what do we do? And someone was asking me that last night. It's like, what does the ISFSI really do? We put the pieces together. We put the pieces of the puzzle together for people, linking those networks, right? We got a lot of programs out there where this afternoon, for example, we're going to update our 1403 live fire instructor program, which is pretty exciting. We're out with Indy, teamed up with the Indianapolis Fire Department to use a training facility. And update that day too, right? And get the whole component of 1403 with the fire dynamics aspect into that program and instruction, which is really exciting time. So I'm excited about that. Excited to see the updates, hear what they're doing today when they're going to present out to the board tonight, which will be fantastic. We got you guys doing. You want to talk a little bit about your drill yard experience you guys are going to be doing?
Yeah, one of the new features this year is going to be the drill yard scenarios. We have two sessions both days. First day tomorrow, we're going to be doing some of our current class, the engine ops, the flow and go. It's going to be a unique experience. Instead of not flowing the actual water, it's going to be inside Lucas Stadium. Partner with Lion using the digital props, so it's going to be quick 45-minute sessions. When I say quick, it goes by very fast. So get some information in and out. We're taking an 8-hour class down to 45 minutes, so you can imagine how tough it's going to be. Imagine there's going to be some questions. You don't have to be any level firefighter can be there. So and then one of the other classes tomorrow, I believe, is going to be the NFPA 1700 class. It's going to be the hook and iron, hook and look, little portion of that class. So again, cramming it all down, but it's great little quick 45-minute blurbs. As we all know, as firefighters, we try to keep our attention as much as we can, but sometimes that's all we got. So I'll be there. Scott will be there. Look forward. Stop on by. Again, it's going to be in that drill yard scenario inside of the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, that'll be good to actually use the digital prompts with that, because Mike and I, neither one have actually got the digital prompt. We've done it. We've actually showed up the digital prompt, but actually using the digital nozzle and all that, that's going to be a challenge for the instructor to to get the message, to still work it, to make it successful. Now we can do it. We just got to kind of change a few things with not having water, right? So, but yeah, it'll be good.
I think one of the bigger takeaways is going to be, to realize that you don't have to flow water to get some of these techniques down. There's some things that you should be tabletop, sitting around the TV, reclining. You get a lot of these concepts figured out that way.
Yeah, I think it's critical too that especially the ISFSI and the leadership role that they have, and the people who are here at FDIC teaching these things. What you're seeing is sets of instructors who have a wide base of knowledge, but they're looking for a new base of knowledge. They're looking for a way to implement it in a way that makes it more understandable to the student, more easily accessible. Make sure that their own mental model, the way that they think about both the tip of the spear, right, and how to apply water, right. If you're how to be on the nozzle, which nobody will disagree. I think that's most critical. Right? Like the most critical component of being in the fire department is putting water on the fire, right? But they're taking that and saying, hey, is there a new way? Is there an innovative way? And if we have this tool, like once we start using it, we go, okay, maybe it would be a little better if we did it this way or we did it that way. Or I'm sure you guys, like every instructor who does it, the first couple of times you go through any program, if I just tweak this here, I move this piece over there, or I change the body position of the way that they are on the line, each of these things makes this just that incrementally better, right? Nothing's going to be just a whole entire game changer. Just get a little better today. If it's 45 minutes, get a little better today. Want to have a conversation with somebody? Just get a little better today. Just get a little better every day. And that'll move that needle, just a little every day. Before you know it, right? Before you know it, we've made a big change.
I think that's critical too. I was talking in my class yesterday afternoon about company level training and how important company level training is. And to your point of implementation, you're going to go through this whole week and take a lot of classes, and if you take all this stuff and you just go back and sit on it and don't actually implement anything, you basically wasted a week almost, right? And so, I'd encourage people to go back, do the company training. One of the things I talked about was taking that first step, right? Take that first step as the firefighter company officer chief, to make that change, be the change agent your organization needs, so that you're moving that needle a little bit. It doesn't have to be like, hey, I'm going to change the entire department. We're going to go some new system or something, but it's just like, hey, today we're going to pull a hose, right? Today we're going to flow some water and get a little bit better at flowing water, because you're right. I mean, fundamentally, that's the most important thing in the fire ground, is flowing water and saving lives. So if we can do things every day to make ourselves better, those two tabs, dude, we're going to improve the survivability for our citizens and what we do for the communities. And so some of the programs, like you say, like ISFSI, we got some great programs that do that. The 1403, how to do live fire instruction, fantastic, right? I mean, I don't think that program's second to none. FPA 1700, implementing structural firefighting, we're doing that. 14, we got a new 1400 coming out, which is going to be fantastic for the training officers and some of the programs that we have to have and those sort of things. But it's an exciting time, I think, in the fire service, right? This morning we're listening to Chief Rhodes talk, and it's just a great time to be in the fire service with what's going on, all the information. You heard Dr. Warren Moore talk this morning about the new nearest system and actually having data and things. And we always complained, why do these people keep asking why? Why are these firefighters asking why? Well, now we're going to be able to show them, right? We're going to have real-time data to say, hey, listen, these are things that are going on. We can improve, right? But this is why we're going to go do this training. So I think that's huge. I don't think of a time in the fire service where we've had so many things going on at once. You've been in forever. I mean, just think about it, right? Like, think about a time in the fire service over your career where there was so much change at once.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and I've felt this way for a long time. Like there's a phrase, and you almost don't even hear it anymore. But there was a phrase for a long time that the fire service is 100 years of tradition, unimpeded by progress, and it just never really resonated with me because all I saw was change, and all I saw was progress. I mean, in the city of Seattle, we were doing CPR. I mean, I'm not kidding you. Every year they were just adjusting the dials a little bit. Try this new thing, try that new thing. And what was driving that was data, like the survivability profiles of those people. And when Seattle talks about the people surviving the event, we mean they leave the hospital and go home to their family. Right? That's the measure. That's the measure that we're. So we tried a couple of trials that within 3 months the data, like, it's getting worse, and they just stopped the trial. Like, it's not worth it if people aren't surviving. If it's even 1 or 2 percentage points, it's just not worth it, right? And you go from, I mean, in '87 when I started, like, there was a couple of ropes on a rig, right? I mean, there's a couple of ropes on there, and you got tied it around your waist, and I mean, we used to pull on a rope 5 times to see if it would break, and then it was certified for the next year. You have 5 people pull on it 5 times, and if it didn't break, then that was certified for the next year. Like, I mean, think about, like, you go out here right now, there's probably half a dozen or a dozen vendors they're selling, top of the line, 3 mil line, 5 mil line, 7 mil line. Like, what's the load you're trying to achieve? Like, what's your objectives on the and that goes for hose and nozzles and command systems, and, like, you're not, an instant commander isn't, some guy standing out front with a megaphone, yelling across the fireground, right? So to me, you're right. This is such an exciting time, but you know what? It's always been an exciting time to be in the fire department. I mean, it's so awesome. It's so awesome.
It's incredible to see. Like, you walk around this facility, you see 2 giant, stadium and a convention center full of stuff for the fire service, like here. And I was even saying this yesterday too. Is like, be part of the solution. If you're a department, be involved. Like, don't let the vendors drive what we want. We should drive what the vendors are producing for us. And you're seeing that, right? You're seeing that happen. It's fantastic. From, like you said, hose and ropes and all the different stuff that we're doing. This is the best job in the world, right? Like, we get to go and do things that other people can't. I think we just can't put that up there high enough. So, no, I think it's exciting. Like I said, it's a great time, great week. I love it. I love the opportunities that are afforded to us up here to talk and train and get with people and things like that. So, I mean, that's huge. So you're doing a class. You did a class this week on the reading smoke, and so what have you seen changes in that? Just
Yeah, so our reading smoke curriculum, I mean, many of you viewers may not be aware. I've been teaching it here for 5 years now, but that was originally created by Dave Dotson. He gets full credit for the ideas and the notions and how to put the class together. And he taught it for a long time. And when he asked if I would take it over, it's like, yeah, I mean, how do I not contribute to spreading that message? That's how I thought about it. I mean, I'd seen him teach, even not just after we became friends, but I'd seen him teach 10, 15 times. If he was anywhere near the Seattle Fire Department, I went and saw him. And so as I took over the curriculum and I started to look at, my teaching style and the way that I like to do things, and then some of the stuff coming out of ULFSRI and those sorts of things, even the exterior application of water, it's like, okay, I mean, you watch videos, you go, okay, that was successful and that was not successful. Okay, what are the reading smoke cues that I can know if it's working or if it's not working? So it's like, okay, it's a rapid and sustained decrease in velocity. That's how you know it's working. Okay, so if you don't achieve that, then your water application into that room is not achieving your tactical objective, which is fire extinguishment. And continuing to do that's not going to solve the problem. The key then is just to recognize it as soon as possible. But then I think to myself, that's actually true inside a fire building too. Yeah. Right. So if you're in the right place with the right amount of water and using the right techniques, like you guys are teaching, right? You should start having a positive impact in seconds, not minutes. Right. Like what does Ricky Bobby say? If you're not winning, you're losing, right? There is no stalemate in what we do.
Yeah.
And so you should have these built-in expectations. Like, hey, when we go at it, we're going to go at it hard. We're going to go at it as fast as we safely can. We believe in the mission, but if it's not working for some reason, I want you to recognize it's not working.
Yeah.
And I want you to either adjust or change or communicate or whatever it is that has to happen on that fire ground at that moment in time in order to be successful in the mission, right? And so it's not about, oh, I made a mistake. It's like, hey, maybe you did exactly the right thing based on what you understood about the situation at the time, right? But now you have more understanding because the thing you're doing isn't working. So just figure out what the next thing is, right? And in the reading smoke process, what I'm saying is, here's the things that you're looking for. Here's the visual cues that can tell you if you're on the way to the fire, this is the direction the smoke should be moving. If you're setting up at the front door, you can look at the neutral plane and the lift. And here's the things that you can understand from that smoke as it comes out of the building. All of those are just ways to help firefighters, company officers, and chief officers understand there's a lot of information available in that smoke. There's a lot of information there. And if you train your mind's eye to see it, and then you train your brain to understand it, then you can use that in the implementation of strategy, tactics, and tasks to meet the mission.
I remember the first time I took that, I was new firefighter, was getting ready to take some promotional exams, things like that. And I remember sitting in this class and I'm just like blown away, right? Like it's the first time I heard this stuff, seen this stuff. And I think back, I'm like, what a simplistic idea, but to quantify like he's done and you're doing is phenomenal for the fire service. And I just wonder, where does this get put into like the curriculum? Like how do as ISFSI, like we're big on standards, we're big on the NFPA standards, and obviously some of the programs we're doing. But how do we get stuff like that? Because every firefighter, fire officer, right? We agree should have that.
Yeah.
But it's not it's not always in the programs.
Yeah, and getting the language in there, but the other thing is just getting the understanding in it. And I think, when people are doing live fire training, they're talking about these things, right?
Yeah.
They're talking about the neutral plane. They're talking about the air intake. They're talking about the exhaust, or even, you're even talking about when the water is applied and lowering the temperature, which creates the gas contraction and what that looks like, right? All of those things, when we say, hey, this is what this looks like, that's the art of reading smoke. It just innately, maybe it's not using those words or whatever the case may be, but what you're describing is the visual cues for the fire behavior but relative to the action that we're taking, right? If you see this, like this is an 1 3/4 fire. This, look at this. This is a 2.5 fire. Now, somewhere there's a delineation point, right? We're right in the middle. Like, each one of those is going to be affected, right? Sometimes we're clearly on this side, and sometimes we're clearly on that side, and we have this middle. But seeing all those things and understanding that and the reading smoke piece can give you a lot of that info, but that's only one piece of the puzzle. You got to have building construction. Yep. You have to if you want to be competent on the fire ground, you have to understand building construction. Wherever you work, you give me almost any address in the city of Seattle, right? I'm retired 5 years, but you give me almost any address. Not only do I know what area of the city it's in, I know the general is that 1 and 2 story homes, is that high density townhomes, is that an area of commercial buildings, like what's the general water supply in that region? Like there's so much information. Who are the companies? Like I was in with Chief Isaacs yesterday. Who are the companies that are responding? Who's that company officer on that company? Who's the least senior member on that company? Right? All of these things come to a head when you arrive at the event and you have to do it. And so the practice of being here and just doing it, just get 45 minutes better. Yeah. Right? Just getting 45 minutes better, or taking the art of reading smoke class, or visiting my YouTube page or the SBSK stuff, or being on, subscribing to a podcast, right? And so like, hey, I'm on my way to work. Can I get an hour better?
Yeah.
Right. Can I get an hour better, or am I going to listen to Taylor Swift? Right. Right. And I don't mean to pick on her because, I'm just saying that, I can say, or listen to AC/DC, right? Whatever it is. Could I get an hour better can I get my mind engaged in the game?
And I think that's key. Like, are we looking for those opportunities? Are we seeking those opportunities to, like you said, do an hour better? The thing I love about ISFSI the most is that we're never stagnant. Like, we're always changing. We're trying to stay with the evolution of the fire service. And prime example to the fire today, the 1403 program. And we're updating that day 2 to include that fire dynamics aspect. Or to include the contraction of what's actually happening in this space. So we're not just doing live fire training, which we know we have to do every year. We're using it as a classroom, right? We're allowing those instructors to actually come in and talk about it a little bit, so that when those instructors leave and they go talk about it, they're actually better instructing the firefighters, which is, the end goal of ISFSI is to create better instructors so that the fire service, changes and evolves. And I think that's fantastic. It's a great program. Other programs.
No, I was going to talk about too, if I would. So you talk about those small wins, right? What's the biggest buzzword in the fire service right now? Data, right? Where we're data. I think we've always had that information. We never know how to apply it. I think it's one of the most exciting things in the fire service right now is we're learning how to really put that to put it to work. Those podcasts, small information blurbs. For example, a lot of our trainings, Scott and I traveled around. If you talk about where more information is coming out, where you put in the water, and that really kind of opens up our eyes that, hey, it's no longer that we're going in, outside exterior water, dumping water in that house and just hoping it goes out. We tell these students that, hey, we can put out a 10 by 10 room fire with 250 gallons of water. Where do we get information? Data. FSRI is telling us stuff. They're doing these studies. We're able to get that information out quick, and that's really what's opened up the eyes, of our students and the fire service. So, talk about small wins earlier. Are you talking about small increments? Or I call those small wins. I like that. Small wins. You build upon that. Chief Rhodes in his speech talked about the revolution. That really opened up my eyes. Hey, revolution is not a bad word. We're starting a revolution of improving ourselves, improving the fire service. So it works both ways.
And those slides that we use, I've seen in several presentations. With that, it's like that's the exciting part, right? Like you're saying that we got all these exciting times. That was always good being progressive. It's like I feel like everybody's thinking it's exciting because it's like, oh, that's a lot of data, and all this studies, and then like almost every class went in, there's a blurb, a little bit of, this research. So we got all this evidence-based research that then we're implementing it about the reading smoke part. Right? When you said that, I was in the same boat. I took that class, like 20 years ago. And what I know now, like to what it's like, we're going to flow a lot of water in that window before we go in. Right? Yeah. And we didn't, that wasn't a thing. So let's get in there, just control the doors. But, it's not always that extra water application, or the correct term is what we use now, but all the terms that everybody uses, and it's like that's the key. Just like the window-based, door-based search, right? All that stuff, and I'm hearing it more and more in each little blurb, and that's really cool. That's what I think is really good about the coming out here and seeing the research is being used in these deliveries that we use.
And I would add in too, like one of the things that I think data is really helpful for, and one of the ways that we can use that is I've had, when the whole, the use of exterior water came out, right? Like it created this. We can talk about smoothbores, the smoothbore cartel, and all combination of like all these things, right? All these things, like it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how you feel. Here's what matters. How does it impact the mission? Like, you're telling me, I don't like the looks of that helmet. I don't care, right? You tell me, like, if we switch the way we do something, we know that from our arrival till getting the person out of the building, 4 minutes is the key. 70% if it's 4 minutes or less. Well, what's the number if it's 3 minutes and 55 seconds or less? Right. What if it's 3 minutes 50 seconds? What if it's 3 minutes 45 seconds? Right. So if I can do these things and I can take my like certainly through practice I can take my mask up time from 40 seconds to 15 seconds to get my grease piece and my hood on and stuff, right? Like If you gave me another tool that instead of 15 seconds, it takes 3, I'm just going to tell you, unless you have some compelling reason to tell me that that's not going to work, I'm going to have a hard time saying that your feelings matter. Right? What matters is the mission. And so, and that's just one example, right? I'm not trying to pick on helmets, right? I'm not trying to start a fight over helmets. I'm just saying that let's consider the victim who's leaving space, and let's start there. Yeah. And let's figure out. Let's go backwards from there and say, when we're designing a fire station, it matters if the bedrooms are 30 seconds further away from the apparatus floor. That matters. And so, where do firefighters spend their time? How do they access the apparatus floor? You know what? The storage area maybe can be further away, right? Like, oh, this is where the building has the best views. Okay, but look how far it is from the apparatus bay. Like, what's the mission? Like, let's start there. Whether we're designing a fire station, designing it, speccing out of an apparatus, which nozzle to buy, which helmet to buy, which bunker gear to buy, which hose, how we're going to do the tactics. If we have to start at the mission and understand that it's the impact on the mission that we're measuring, not people's feelings, not how they think about it, not what any individual, including the deputy chief who's in charge of purchasing stuff, it doesn't matter what they like. What matters what's most effective.
Yeah, I think that's key, right? It's like, if you think about it, if we check our egos in the fire service, which is a hard thing to do sometimes as firefighters, but if we check their egos, and to your point, said what is best for our community, right? Yeah. We just implemented a new apparatus in our department. It's pretty controversial, but it's what's best for our community, right? We had to make some changes because we had a ladder truck that was running EMS calls 80% of the time, and just wasn't effective and wasn't the right solution for the community. So we changed it up, and it was, trust me, it was not popular. But ego wise, why was it not popular? Because it wasn't what we always did. And if we don't look at, to your point, what is best for the citizen, what's best for the community, what's best for the town we protect, whether it be, like you said, helmets. We are so hesitant to change a helmet, even though it might be safer for us and provide us, quicker access time. Turnout gear is changing, all that stuff, the hoses, the different, styles of nozzles, things like that. And, look at what's best for them, not what's best for us. And, when we design things, we always joke about how big these fire trucks have gotten. We put all these things on there because we have to have them just in case so we can perform. It's like, that's fine, but we lose the functional mission of what this truck is designed for. And at the end of the day, yeah, we got a lot of really neat stuff on there, but then you can't get to the hose, right? So yeah. I think that's a great point. Focus on the mission, let the mission drive the organization, not the organization drive what the mission should be. And that takes leadership and guts to really do that well. So that's good stuff.
That's theory-based versus research-based.
What's that? Yeah.
Theory-based versus research, yeah. Tactics by opinion versus tactics by science. And, it's nobody likes to hear it, but it's the truth, right? Let that drive our let that drive what we do in the fire service. And I think we focus on that, focus our training on that, we'll be pretty effective, moving forward, which is good. Other stuff going on this week at FDIC for us, ISFSI. So tomorrow, big day, we got the George D. Post Award. And, I can't think of a guy that's more deserving than Bill Guston, who's very much dedicated his entire life to the fire service and training. And so it's an honor tomorrow. We'll be able to present him with that award. So that'll be very exciting for us. And then Friday, we have our general meeting. So general membership meeting. Anybody's a member, come out. And so hopefully we'll see everybody at that thing too. So that'll be good. And we'll be out and about this week. So it's going to be good times. Anything else you guys want to talk about? ISFSI stuff?
Yeah, I would just reiterate, somebody like Bill Guston, right? A friend of mine's got a son here this year, and he introduced him to Bill Guston, and Bill says, "What do you want to do while you're here at FDIC?" And this young new firefighter, but 19, 20 years old, says, "I just want to be a sponge." And without missing a beat, Bill Guston goes, "Me too." Hey, that's what he's here for. That's what we're here for, right? Yeah. I mean, here's somebody who's got 40 years.
Oh yeah.
He's coming to FDIC every year for probably since it was still in Cincinnati. And what's he looking to do? He's looking to leave here with 1 or 2 nuggets, 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of information that can help him uh, help his organization better meet the mission. And I think that's why instructors like that get that award, and that's why it's important that ISFI recognizes that there's value to being a student of the game, and there's value to being a teacher in the game, and that even outside of the recognition of the organization, because you've been doing it for 30 years or whatever, the value is intrinsic in being a fire instructor. It's intrinsic, right? And so if you embody the mission and that's how you're sending your message, and you're helping your organization get a little 45 minutes better, or whatever the case may be, 2-minute videos on TikTok. Look, man, I don't care.
Yeah, just get it
Be
done.
an instructor.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're going to be an instructor, recognize that, hey, this group, ISFSI, is here for you, and they need you. You need them, and they need you. Right. Be part of something that helps everybody.
No, and that is like, the best instructors are students. So if you're up here and it's a great time, but you're not sitting in classes learning stuff, you're not challenging yourself, challenging what you've always done with norms, you're not going to grow your organization as an instructor. And that's the key, right? Is like, he's, like you said, Gustin, sitting in classes, taking notes of stuff. And I'm thinking, this guy's got 40 plus years in the fire service. What is he going to? But he's learning. He's like, no, I'm going to change my next slide to this because of this reason. I never heard this before. And so, if a guy's got that much time on the job is doing it, that's an example to all of us that we probably should be doing the exact same thing, mirroring that image. So, ISFSI, we have a great organization. We're about 2,000 members strong. So I'd encourage anybody that's out there that wants to join, please join us, isfsi.org. If you're not currently a member, we do have a discounted rate, so you can sign up at our booth. We're right down in the Wabash Hall. So check us out. We'll be open tomorrow through Saturday. So come on down, check us out, see what we got to offer, talk to us. If you see our members in the halls, a lot of us have the logos on. So stop one of us, talk to us, ask us why we should join. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'd love to encourage you to become a member with us because, like I said, it's like any organization, we're only strong as our members, and we want more instructors that are doing the right stuff, and we know you're out there. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you guys for being on with us today. We're excited for FDIC and look forward to seeing you guys this week.